So let's look at how you can apply and use some common angle facts to solve problems like these that we can see here. The first thing what I want to point out is that it will very frequently say diagram not drawn accurately. So that means you can't get a protractor out, you can't measure the angles. That's not how we're going to do it. We need to do it by knowing a set of facts about angles. So here they're asking us to work out this missing angle here, which they're calling y. Okay, now the fact that we need to use in order to do that is the fact that we've got angles about a point, and angles about a point equal 360. So here the particular question asks us to work out the angle and then give a reason for your answer. So the reason for the answer is that it's angles about a point always equal 360 degrees. So how are we going to use that here? So we know this angle here is 110, and this one has got the little square symbol in, which of course means that it's a right angle, so that's 90. So if we add those two together, so 110 plus 90 is going to give us 200, and then we know that they all add up to 360, so 360 take away 200 leaves us 160. So this angle y here is 160 degrees. So let's have a look at another one which has a different type of fact that we need to use here. So here we've got a straight line, and then we've got two angles right next together on this. Okay, so the fact that we're going to use here is that angles on a straight line equal 180. Okay, so just so there's no confusion about this, the angles that we're talking about must actually be connected and joined together. If I had another angle way over here, for example, if I extended this line, and let's say we had another angle marked there, that has got nothing to do with these two. That one and this one on this side would also equal 180, but it's not connected here. So if you think about it, this angles on a straight line is really half of this one in a sense, because you've got a half circle, so it's 180. So knowing that fact, to find the missing angle, which is W here, we've got 121 here, so we simply need to do 180 minus 121, and that is going to give us 59 degrees. So let's look at a few more different ones. So I'm just going to go through so that we can cover all the different facts that you should be aware of. So the fact that we're going to use in this one is the fact that this is a right angle. And so we know that right angles equal 90 degrees. So they've split the right angle into two parts. This part says 57 degrees, and this is P. We've got to find out what P is. So we're simply going to do 90 minus 57, which is going to give us 33 degrees as our answer. Okay. Now, they don't always ask you to give a reason, but you should always be prepared to be able to do so. So in this one, we have a quadrilateral. So the rule that we're looking at here for a quadrilateral is that angles in a quadrilateral, of course being a four-sided shape, so the simple ones are your squares and your rectangles, but angles in a quadrilateral will always add up to 360 degrees. So inside here, they've told us that this angle over here is 101. This one is 53. This one's marked with the square, so we know that's a right angle, so that's 90. And this one is marked X, and that's what we've got to find out. So what we need to do is add these three together. So 101 and 90 is going to give me 191. And then we've got 53 more. So altogether we have 244. So now we need to take the 244 away from the 360. Okay. The way to do this mentally is to think of this as 250 first of all. So that 250 from this would be 110. But actually there was an extra 6 there, so it's 116. If you need to, obviously do a proper takeaway sum to work it out. So angles in a quadrilateral add up to 360. All of these rules are ones that you need to be familiar with. Okay, so actually there's two more rules that are going to come up. First one is here. So we've got a right angle triangle. Okay, so angles in a triangle always add up to 180 degrees. So here we're trying to find this angle here, which they've called Y. This angle here is 38 degrees. And this angle here is a right angle. So to work out what the missing angle is, we're going to do 90 plus 38, which is going to give us 128. And then we're going to take that away from 180. So 130 from 180 would be 50. It's an extra 2 there, so it's going to be 52. Now, in a right angle triangle, not other triangles, but a right angle triangle, because this one is 90, you can actually shortcut this process. So instead of adding the 90 and the 38 together, we can just understand that these two must also be 90, because 90 and 90 make 180. So to find our angle, we could have just done 90 take away 38 straight away. So 90 take away 40 would be 50 plus the extra 2. So you can see we're getting the same answer either way, but it's just saving us an extra sum. So let's just do a few more. So here we go. We've got angles about a point again. Okay, I'm not going to write that. Oh, actually, let's just do it quickly. Okay, angles about a point, and if you remember, that one is that they equal 360. So we add these two together. So we've got 135 and 70. And if we add those two together, we're going to get 205. And then if we take that away from 360, 200 is going to leave us with 160. Take off the extra 5. 155 degrees. Okay. Right, okay. So this one here would be our quadrilateral rule, where they all add up to 360. I'm not actually going to do that one because we don't need to keep doing the same ones over and over again. I am going to look at this one because this is introducing a new rule. Okay, so we're looking at this angle here, which is 104, and opposite is an angle called A. And the rule that we're seeing here is that opposite angles are equal to each other. So what is the size of angle A? Angle A is the same as the angle opposite it, so it's 104 as well. It then also asks us to work out what angle B is here. So if we notice here, these two angles are on a straight line. So we're going to do 180, take away 104. That's going to give us 76. So B is 76 degrees because angles on a straight line add up to 180. So we're going to have a look at one more down here. So I'm not going to look at this one, it's this one down here. Now this up here tells me that it's an isosceles triangle. It also tells me, because we've got these marks here, which means that those two sides are the same. So what's the rule about isosceles triangles? So isosceles triangles have two equal sides and two equal angles. Okay, so the two sides that are equal are kind of pointing out where the two equal angles are going to be. So this one is kind of the odd one out. I think you can see that this one is a different size to these two. So they've asked us to work out what this angle at the top is, which they've called y. So they've told us down here that this one on this side is 77. Because it's an isosceles triangle, we know that this one here is also 77. So if we add those two together, so 77 and 77 is going to give us 154. We know that angles in a triangle have to add up to 180. So if we do 180, take away 154, we will get 26 degrees, which is what our angle is here at the top. Okay. Right. So we're just going to look at two more examples. Nothing particularly new here, but sometimes things are combined. So here we've got lots of different lines together. They're telling us that this angle here is 151 and this one inside here is 93, and they're asking us to work out what this one is on the other side here. Okay, so this angle here is on a straight line with this angle in here. So if we knew what that angle was, we could work out what this one is. And we could work out what that angle was if we knew what this angle was, because they're in a triangle, and we know that angles in a triangle add up to 180. So we need to start by finding this angle, and we can find this angle because we've got angles on a straight line here. So our first sum is to do 180 take away 151, which is going to give us 29. So that means that that angle in there is 29. This one here is 93. So if we add 93 and 29 together, we get 122. We know that these three angles here all need to add up to 180. So 180 minus 122 is going to give us 58. So that means that this angle in here is 58. So then finally, because this angle and this angle are on a straight line together, we can work out what y is by doing 180, take away the 58, which is going to leave us with 122. Okay, so this had more marks than some of those other questions because there was more steps to do here. One final one then here. So it tells us here that Bernard says that this line that starts at A and goes to C, despite how it's drawn, because it says it's not drawn accurately, is a straight line. So we've got the angle in here is 62 and the angle on this side is 119. So how can we prove if it is a straight line or not? We can prove it by using the rule that we know, that angles on a straight line must add up to 180. Sorry, squeeze that in. So if we add these two together, we can tell whether it's a straight line or not, because if they add to 180, it is. If they add to more or less, it isn't. So we've got 119 plus 62. 9 and 2 is 11. 1 and 1 and 6 gives me 8, and then we've got 1 here. So those angles add up to 101 degrees. So it's not quite a straight line because it didn't add up to 180. So there we've gone through some of the more basic rules and facts that we need to use with angle diagrams.